Hello, friends. If you're 62 or older and you're expecting your Social Security check this July, you need to stop scrolling and listen closely, because there's a new ID rule quietly rolling out at the SSA right now that could delay your payment if you're not prepared. And honestly, most seniors have no idea this is even happening. I'm John, and welcome back to John Retires, where we break down exactly what's changing with your benefits so you're never caught off guard. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let me know, where are you watching from today? I love seeing how many states and even other countries tune in every single day. Now here's the part that worries me most. There's a small detail buried in this new rule that, if you miss it, could actually hold up your check for weeks, and the SSA isn't exactly making noise about it. Stick with me till the end of this video, because I'm going to walk you through exactly what you need to do right now to protect your payment. And if you find this helpful, do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update like this again. Now, let's get into exactly what's going on, because I don't want you walking away from this video with half the story. Over the past year, the Social Security Administration has been quietly rolling out a completely new way of confirming who you are before they'll process certain things on your account. And I know that sounds small, almost like paperwork nobody would care about, but stick with me here, because this is the kind of thing that has already caught thousands of seniors off guard, and some of them found out the hard way, right when they needed their payment the most. Here's the background you need. For years, if you wanted to apply for retirement benefits, change your direct deposit information, or handle certain things with your Social Security account, you could usually just pick up the phone, answer a few security questions, and get it done. Simple, right? Well, the SSA has decided that's no longer good enough. They're calling it knowledge-based authentication, which is just a fancy way of saying they used to ask you things like your address from 10 years ago or a loan you took out in 2003. And the problem is, with all the data breaches happening these days, scammers can actually buy that kind of information off the dark web. So the SSA said, enough is enough, we need a stronger way to confirm identity. And on paper, that sounds like a good thing, right? Nobody wants their Social Security benefits stolen by a criminal pretending to be them. But here's where it gets tricky for you and me. Instead of phone verification, the SSA is now pushing everyone toward proving their identity either online, through something called a My Social Security account, or in person at a local field office. And if you're someone who doesn't already have that online account set up, or if your identity can't be verified digitally for whatever reason, you may be required to physically walk into an SSA office with your ID in hand before certain changes go through. Now think about that for a second. If you live in a rural area, if you don't drive anymore, if the nearest Social Security office is an hour away and only open a few days a week, that is not a small inconvenience. That's a real barrier standing between you and your money. And this is exactly why I'm bringing this to you today, because so many of the emails and comments I've been getting lately are from people who say they tried to update their direct deposit information, or they tried to apply for retirement benefits, and suddenly they were told they needed to verify their identity in a way they'd never had to before. Some of them didn't even know this rule existed until they were staring at a rejected transaction, or a message telling them to schedule an office visit. So let's talk about who this actually affects, because I don't want you panicking if it doesn't apply to you. But I also don't want you to be caught by surprise if it does. If you are already receiving your Social Security benefits and you're not making any changes to your direct deposit information. The good news is your payment should continue to arrive on schedule, into the same account it's always gone to. The SSA has said clearly that people who already have their benefits set up correctly should not see a disruption, just because this new identity policy exists. But, and this is a big but, the moment you need to do something that involves proving who you are, whether that's applying for retirement benefits for the first time, applying as a spouse or survivor, or changing your bank account information for direct deposit, that's when this new rule kicks in and could slow things down. Now, here's something a lot of people don't realize, and this is the part I really want you to pay attention to. If you already have a My Social Security account set up online, and you can log in and verify your identity through that account, you're actually in decent shape. You can usually make these changes yourself, digitally, without needing to go anywhere. The real issue is for people who never created that online account in the first place, or people whose identity can't be confirmed through the online system for one reason or another. Those folks are the ones being told to show up in person. And if you've been putting off setting up that online account because it seemed confusing or unnecessary, friends, now is the time to stop putting it off. Let me also mention something that ties directly into this, because it's been a huge source of confusion. A while back, the SSA required anyone who had created their online account using just a simple username and password, especially if that account was set up before September of 2021, to transition over to using either login.gov or id.me to keep accessing their account. If you haven't made that switch and you try to log in the old way, you might find yourself locked out right when you need access the most. So if it's been a while since you've logged into your Social Security account, I would strongly encourage you to go check right now before you finish watching this video. Make sure you're not one of the people who's going to hit a wall when they try to log in next. Now, I want to talk about why this matters so much for the timing of your payments, especially heading into a new month. Social Security payments go out on a schedule based on your birth date, and that schedule doesn't change because of this identity rule. But what can change is whether a specific transaction, like a direct deposit update, gets processed in time to affect your next payment. Here's an important detail. The SSA has said that once your identity is properly verified, whether online or in person, direct deposit changes are now supposed to be processed within 1 business day. That's actually faster than before, when changes made online used to sit in a holding period of around 30 days as a fraud prevention measure. So, in some ways, once you clear that identity hurdle, things move quicker than they used to. The real danger zone is if you wait until the last minute to make a change, run into the identity verification requirement unexpectedly, and then don't have time to resolve it before your payment is scheduled to go out. This is why I keep telling people on this channel, don't wait until you're up against a deadline to deal with anything related to your Social Security account. If you know you'll need to update your banking information soon, or if you're getting ready to apply for benefits, take care of the identity verification piece early. Set up your online account today if you haven't already. Confirm you can log in successfully. Because if you wait until the week your payment is due, and you suddenly discover you need to schedule an in-person appointment, you could be looking at real delays, especially with wait times at Social Security field offices being what they are lately. And speaking of wait times, I have to be honest with you about something because I think you deserve the full picture, not just a comforting version of events. Social Security field offices have been dealing with staffing reductions and office closures in various parts of the country. That means if you do need to schedule an in-person appointment to verify your identity, you might not get in as quickly as you'd like. Some reports have shown that a large share of appointments aren't even scheduled within a month of when people first request them, and if you try calling the SSA's main phone line to sort things out, average hold times have been reported at well over an hour in some cases. So if this rule does apply to your situation, please don't wait until the 11th hour. Call and get on the schedule as early as you possibly can. I want to take a moment here and really paint a picture for you, because sometimes numbers and policy language don't hit home the way a real scenario does. Imagine you're a 68-year-old widow living alone in a small town, and your bank recently switched systems, so your old direct deposit information no longer works correctly. You call Social Security to update it, like you've done plenty of times before without any trouble. Except this time, instead of a quick 5-minute call, you're told you need to verify your identity either online, which you've never done before and don't feel comfortable trying, or in person at an office that's 45 minutes away and only open Tuesday through Thursday. Meanwhile, your payment is scheduled to go out in a week and a half. That is not a hypothetical horror story I'm making up to scare you. That is happening to real people right now, all across this country. And it's exactly why I wanted to sit down and explain this to you plainly, instead of letting you stumble into it unprepared. Here's another thing worth understanding, because I think it actually helps explain why the SSA is doing all of this in the first place, even if the rollout has been messy. The agency has also started using a new tool through the Treasury Department called the Account Verification Service, which allows them to instantly check whether a bank account is legitimate before processing a direct deposit change. In theory, this is a good thing because it's designed to stop fraudsters from redirecting someone else's benefit payment into their own account without anyone noticing until it's too late. But it also means there are now more layers between you asking for a change and that change actually taking effect. More security checks generally mean more steps, and more steps can mean more room for something to get held up, especially if any piece of your information doesn't match perfectly across their systems. Now let's talk about who's exempt from some of this, because I don't want to make it sound like every single senior is suddenly required to walk into an office. If you're applying for Social Security disability insurance, Medicare, or supplemental security income, the SSA has said those applications are exempt from the strict in-person identity proofing requirement. The reasoning is that during the process of applying for those specific programs, there are already multiple built-in opportunities to confirm someone's identity, so an extra in-person step isn't necessary. That's genuinely good news for people applying under those categories. But if you're applying for regular retirement benefits, spousal benefits, or survivor benefits, and you can't verify yourself online, the in-person requirement still applies to you. I also want to pause here and talk about something incredibly important, because unfortunately, whenever the SSA rolls out a new policy like this, scammers see it as an opportunity. There has already been a noticeable uptick in fraudulent calls, texts, and emails from people pretending to be Social Security representatives, claiming that you need to verify your identity immediately, or your benefits will be suspended. Friends, please hear me clearly on this. The Social Security Administration will never contact you out of the blue by text message or social media asking you to verify your identity or provide personal information. They generally don't threaten to cut off your benefits over the phone, and they will never ask you to pay money or provide gift cards to protect your account. If you get a call, text, or email like that, do not click any links, do not give out your Social Security number, and go directly to the official SSA website, or call their verified number yourself to check if there's actually anything going on with your account. This new identity rule has created the perfect environment for con artists to prey on confused seniors, and I refuse to let that happen to anyone watching this channel. So let me bring this all together into a simple game plan, because I know I've thrown a lot of information at you, and I want you to walk away from this video actually knowing what to do, not just feeling anxious. First, if you don't already have a My Social Security account, go set one up today at the official SSA Gov website. It's free, and it's the single best thing you can do to protect yourself from delays under this new system. Second, if you already have an account but haven't logged in for a while, go check that you can still access it, especially if it was created before September of 2021, because you may need to transition to login.gov or id.me. Third, if you know you need to make any changes to your benefits or your direct deposit information in the near future, don't wait. Handle it now, while you have time to work through any identity verification steps, instead of waiting until the week before your payment is due. And finally, stay alert for scam attempts, because this is exactly the kind of confusing policy change that criminals love to exploit. I also want to say this, because I think it's important. Policies like this tend to keep evolving. We've already seen the SSA delay implementation dates, add exemptions, and adjust the rules based on public pushback from seniors, advocacy groups, and lawmakers. That means what applies today might shift again in the coming months. This is exactly why I make videos like this one, breaking things down in plain English, so you're never left guessing or relying on some confusing government notice that seems to raise more questions than it answers. My goal with John Retires has always been to make sure people like you, people who worked hard your entire lives and earned these benefits, are never caught flat-footed by changes coming out of Washington. I know this can feel overwhelming, especially when it feels like something changes every few months. But you're not alone in trying to figure this out, and that's exactly why I'm here every week, breaking down what's happening, cutting through the confusing official language, and telling you in plain terms what it actually means for your check, your bank account, and your peace of mind. If this video helped clear things up for you even a little bit, I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button right now, because it genuinely helps this channel reach more seniors who need this exact information. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time, because I'm going to keep covering every twist and turn with Social Security as it happens, and you don't want to miss the next update. Turn on your notifications too, so the moment I post something new about your benefits, you'll be the first to know instead of finding out weeks later from a friend or a confusing letter in the mail. Before you go, drop a comment down below and let me know if you've already run into this identity verification issue yourself, or if this is the first you're hearing about it. I read every single comment, and honestly, some of the best topics for future videos come directly from what you all are dealing with in real life. If you found this helpful, share it with a friend or a family member who might not have heard about this yet, because the more people who know about this ahead of time, the fewer people who get blindsided right when they need their check the most. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves.